Right, welcome back, folks. You're watching Cape Rugby TV. We're talking about Western Province Club Rugby. A lot of results, logs, and fixtures are all in play now. Back in the studio with me, Renzel Botman. Renzel, nice to have you back, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jobs. Always lucky to be here.
Yeah.
It's always lucky to talk about club rugby.
So the question one of the questions I asked you last week was, do you feel like that we were in? Because some teams that played maybe played their first games of the season, others have just got started, so to speak. After this weekend, I definitely feel it's all hands on deck. Everybody's in. All games are being played. All coaches are there. Even down to the Metro leagues that are playing. The women's teams are playing. I mean, really, it is now jam-packed rugby.
Yeah, no, it's a full house of rugby now. Every weekend there's going to be a rugby. Everyone played their first game. I think now looking at the logs, you can obviously see now already, even if it's 3 games, 2 games, everyone has shown their cards now. All the coaches have shown their cards. So because you have to play your best teams at the end of the day, because you have to win every single game.
So I've got to ask you guys, we're going to take a look at 2 games. This is Villages and Hamilton's, but I am going to talk to you a little bit about the Metro League coming up in the next segment. So don't go away. It's going to be quite exciting. I'm going to lean on Alistair Taste to tell me a little bit about what's happening on the Metro League. But let's go take a look here at some of the highlights of Villages versus UWC.
Solid scrum.
Right, there we go. It was a win then for Villages, 52 points to 33 over UWC. Alistair, your thoughts of the game? Looking at that, it's reminding me a little bit of the score 7s last year.
It's a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Entertaining game because at first off was one for one try for Villages, one try for
One for you, one for me.
One for you, one for me, as the commentator said. But I think in the second half, that's where Villages pulled through.
Yeah. Rens, pretty good rugby though, both sides.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was just looking at the score there and I said to myself, this week Villages didn't have it all their way against UWC, and well done to UWs putting on 33 points even.
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's take a look now at our next match. This is Hamilton's up against SK Warmers, playing at home ground, Hamilton's. All right, there we go, folks. Final result then. Hamilton's 15-13 win over SK Warmers. Renz, you were at the game. Close game. I believe SK could still have won it.
Oh, I think it was too tight for anyone to look at though at the end. But yeah, SK Warmers, I think it was about 4 minutes left in the game. And number 10 just missed it to the left, unfortunately. But I think, looking at that game for SK, well done. I think they made a statement going forward in the season.
I was mentioning this earlier on, Alistair. You're talking about Hamilton's being the current Super League champions. SK Warmers were playing it on the fine lines last year about promotion relegation. We come out here. Is this because it's a derby?
Definitely, there's a derby. There's big emotions. They're neighbours.
Yeah.
And I think SK bounced back well from last week's game. They took a bit of a hammering from against Villages, but SK needed to beat Hamilton to survive last year, and they done that.
Right.
To get their
well, yes, of course, yeah. It was that in the dying minutes, yeah. But well, let's see whether or not both these sides play the same kind of rugby in the weeks to come. Renzel, as you said, it's a derby match, and everybody just lifts it up a level.
Yes, definitely. When it comes to derby matches, it doesn't matter if it's a friendly, it doesn't matter if it's 10s or 7s, it's a derby stays a derby.
Yeah.
And between those two, it's hammer and
Well,
tongue.
you can't get any closer. I mean, unless maybe you're playing at Dal Josephat.
Yeah, look,
You're it's right across
it was
the road.
2 points last year and 2 points this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's close stuff. Right, folks, we'll take a break. When we come back, don't forget we're going to be looking at Kraaifontein and Goodwood, and of course the rest of your results in Western Province Club Rugby. Back in a sec.